Welcome back again to the Amazon Internet Services presents to you the Economic Times Global Digital League 2.0 powered by Kyndryl. Now, before I proceed ahead, a quick thank you to our partners who make things happen indeed in a great support. A big thank you to our presenting partner, Amazon Internet Services, co-powered by Kyndryl, innovation partner, Dell Technologies, Platinum Partner Setup, and Raddon Global Partners and Gold Partners are Commvault, Juniper Networks, Exclusive Networks, Fiserv, Checkpoint Software Technologies. Associate partners, Poly Datamatics and Jabra. Supporting associations, community participants, Association of India, the CPAI, along with Cyber Society of India, and not to forget the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals, NABH. A hashtag is ETGDL, talk about in town if you learn something. But for now, straight on to our session that you just saw a slide a while back. Well, bringing in more experience and knowledge and a vast amounts of learnings over so many decades, I'm very delighted to welcome here our next speaker, our special address by Mr. Paul Raddon, General Manager and Global Head of Operations, HSBC Global Service Centers. He was here to talk on is WFX a sustainable solution for GCCs or not? Maybe. You never know. Let's hear it.
Mitin, thank you very much indeed. I think I'd like to start with an apology to everybody. I will not be able to follow Mitin's levels of excitement and enthusiasm. So I'd definitely like to thank him for that and for that warm introduction. Thank you very much indeed. So as Mitin mentioned, I'm Paul Raddon, General Manager and Head of Operations at HSBC's Global Service Centres. As you'll note from the pandemic, I've not worn well over the last 18 months. This is a much younger version of me you see on the slide than the real version that you see before you this afternoon. So again, probably a bit of an apology for that as well. So I'd like to start by really just taking us through a couple of thoughts on the WFX. So what has been the impact of the pandemic across GCCs? Well, pre-COVID, GCCs were very much location-based, and our model had been formed over decades. But within the span of a few weeks, the pandemic rendered it obsolete. The GCC physical facilities were shuttered, and entire workforces were quickly shifted to remote working. The disruption caused by the pandemic has irrevocably changed how we operate our operations. The new operating model has created new opportunities and a new gold standard, which I believe encompasses a number of factors. Resilience. Whilst most of us made the shift to work from home successfully, the real test lay not just in crafting an immediate response, but also in shifting to work from home arrangements for the foreseeable future. As a proof point of this, HSBC and our GSCs, we enabled over 55,000 of our colleagues across 7 countries to work from home due to COVID in a matter of 6 weeks. That's moving 26% of our pre-COVID work from home enabled workforce to 98%. A shift and a change that we'd never seen the magnitude of before. Continuity is another factor. The customer lens, responding to work environment disruptions during an intense spike in customer volumes added an already complex challenge and tested our business preparedness. And the employee lens. Whilst the employee experience varied significantly, management teams had to spend a considerable amount of effort to encourage a sense of connection and engagement in the virtual workspace. To make sure employees didn't feel isolated and a lack of direction and guidance that they needed to excel in their roles. And excelling in their roles is obviously a key factor. That's something that our colleagues were perpetually asking us to provide by way of support. And to do this in HSBC, we established a new staff engagement model to maintain productivity and customer-focused support. This ensured that whilst 98% of us were working from home, our service levels exceeded those of previous years in terms of productivity, quality, and volumes processed. And efficiency. Organizations that already built agile capabilities were able to adapt more quickly to the complexities of working remotely. lean and digitized practices for distributed delivery and enhanced collaboration tools and processes to keep employees motivated, engaged, have been key drivers of productivity. And in HSBC, despite the pandemic, as I mentioned, we saw a record jump of over 10% in overall operating efficiency. Well, what is the future of work? It's a question that many of us have been asking. And there's now we have a collective call to reimagine how and where work is strong. But where people are asking, should future in work might be, but asking where people should work in the future might be the wrong question. I believe a better question is, what unleashes a person's potential, enabling them to be healthy, productive, regardless of where they work? In fact, the critical trend emerging in the past 18 months is that by optimizing the resources to ensure a healthy and productive workforce, regardless of physical location, produces greater bottom line benefits. And there are a number of resources that help people be productive anywhere. Employees can be productive anywhere when they feel autonomy, that they are held to a realistic performance expectation, given the freedom to manage their own time and provided with continuous feedback to improve their work. Mental health is another aspect, and the nature of their work. Colleagues and organizations' culture can help maintain a positive feeling and balance. That there's a high degree of digital skills, that our colleagues have the opportunity to increase their skill levels across emerging technologies like cloud computing, cybersecurity, robotics, virtual reality, and digital collaboration tools. Health policies are also key across organizations, and where we adopt policies that keep our colleagues healthy, like routine cleansing, disinfecting workspaces, restricting the number of personnel in the office at any one time, but also, and key from my perspective, ensuring flexible sick leave for both the employee themselves and for them to support others. We need a supportive leadership, and where the organization's leaders display active listening and care and consideration for well-being, productivity, and personal development, our colleagues are excelling. And digital maturity. The organization must have a strong digital vision that is clearly communicated. This is proven within HSBC to be essential for us to be able to excel. So, the return to the post-pandemic normal is not going to be a simple overnight switch of the remote offshore to on-site. Safety and flexibility are core concerns for our employees, and they must not be overlooked, as many may fear the next chapter of work that will mean reduced autonomy and less supportive environments, bearing in mind that they've enjoyed these for the last 18 months and counting. And as we reimagine the post-pandemic world, we need to be carefully planning enduring changes to our operating models to ensure that our employees are able to work in inclusive environments that support their best work. As most of us are entering the next phase of hybrid working and planning, we must work out how to safely get people back into the office. So now's the time to ask, what's our long-term strategy for hybrid work, and how can we ensure it is successful? Hybrid work is more than extending flexibility to employees. It's an opportunity to fundamentally improve how work gets done, teams collaborate, and the experience of the entire workforce. To reap the benefits of a hybrid workplace, we need a long-term strategy with the goal of delivering intelligent workplace experiences that extend beyond the walls of the office. So what is hybrid working? I firmly believe that at its core, it's a people-centric approach that provides employees with the freedom and flexibility to choose to work however and wherever they're most productive. This freedom of choice and increased autonomy drives productivity, culture, and community in a setting where trust, loyalty, and job satisfaction then increases. But there are a couple of foundations that require this. We need to create a hybrid workplace blueprint. We need to be equipping remote workers with the right tools. And fundamentally, we need to be leveraging technology to provide a safe return to the office. In other words, delivering next-gen experiences in every space. The workplace of the past was about being present in a physical location. And trust me, I've been around long enough to know about needing to be in a physical location and that being stressed as the best place to work. The future is all about being flexible, being flexibility blended with an in-person and remote collaboration. And collaboration is the operative word. For the hybrid workplace to truly redefine our businesses, physical spaces must merge with virtual spaces and with the right technology to assist people throughout their day. In our new hybrid workplace, the office will serve a new purpose. It will be the central hub for people to participate in rich collaboration experiences, network with colleagues, and engage in training and education. Before the pandemic, co-location was deemed a requirement for certain roles to perform well in a GCC. But in the past 18 months, we've made a rapid reassessment of every element of the organisation. We've re-evaluated positions in the front, middle and back offices across locations, job functions, complexities and seniority for their flexibility of being effective for working remotely. When looking at the future, we need to determine the right mix of workforce capacity, consider employee availability and engagement, ways of working, and employee terms. Having a distributed work style model can help leverage multiple locations and office constructs to maximize value while balancing for risk and effectiveness. We really must learn to maximize and optimize. Our managers and leaders will need to do the same. For experience, more geographically diverse the team, more geographically dispersed the team, the less effective the leadership becomes. Leaders will now need to show up differently when they're interacting with some employees face-to-face and others virtually. They will need to rely less on hierarchical and more on inspirational forms of leadership. They're going to need to become leaders, not managers. By defining and embracing how behaviours that are observable to all, and by deliberately making space for virtual employees to engage in informal interactions, leaders will need to facilitate social cohesion and trust building in their teams. These are skills that we didn't necessarily seek across GCCs previously. Virtual talent management will be key. A remote workforce also presents many opportunities to maximise talent engagement and agility. By reducing the need for employees to work from a central location, the GCCs can extend employment opportunities to a more diverse talent pool. This will mean changes in recruitment, using, for example, advanced analytical capabilities such as machine learning, which can help forecast talent requirements for different skills and intervals, or simulation models to predict future competency needs to attract, retain, and develop this more flexible workforce. And talent management will require us developing capabilities to manage remote employees, transitioning learning to online, training supervisors on coaching in a more remote environment, using tools to optimize talent relocation. We'll be using digital tools to monitor performance of a broad array of employees in a remote global workforce to track and manage performance. And we'll need to be able to manage remote and agile teams and processes. A distributed work style model can enable a shift to agile working model with fewer layers and more customer focus. Emphasis on new distributed agile practices such as distributed decision making, regular check-ins and quick sprints to achieve clear milestones can spur engagement in remote teams. The pandemic saw us increasingly embrace digital and self-service tools, but to support a distributed workforce, we now have to expand our IT capabilities to enable digital tracking to aid employees' activities and usage of different applications. To recap, to reap the real benefits of remote working, we will need to build cohesive virtual teams and digital workflows. The end-to-end use of digital practices such as dynamic work allocation, virtual team huddles, and collaboration platforms can help maximize employee engagement, their utilization and productivity, as well as increase customer satisfaction. As we lean into the new hybrid work from anywhere model, reliable and secure infrastructure will be needed to improve resiliency and continuity. This means investment in cloud-based infrastructure, collaborative tools, and information security technologies. So a few thoughts, and in summary, that I'd like to leave you with. I firmly believe we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to rethink our workplaces, our work models, and workflows from the ground up. Let's not waste it, and let's not forget what's at stake. Business growth in an uncertain world depends on a resilient and productive workforce, and we need to start building ours today. We need to avoid the pitfalls of remote working that requires thinking carefully about our leadership and management in a hybrid virtual world. And finally, interactions between leaders and teams will provide an essential focus for creating the social cohesion and unified hybrid virtual culture we need for the next normal. Thank you very much for taking the time this afternoon. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you indeed for that thoughtful content that you just give it to all of us right now. But I'm going to just reiterate one point you mentioned, that the managers now need to take the leadership quality as
Okay, I thought it was me.
I think, yeah.
All right, Paul, I'm back again. Well, there are glitches, and that is something we need to get used to it as we speak about work from home or from anywhere. So now that we gave a little demo about what you spoke about, I think the world should also prepare themselves for, the internet dropouts or the power cuts. But that was a live demo to all our viewers. But I'm going to straight go to a question right now. I have so many questions, but this one interesting question. How are GCCs redesigning people practices in the current scenario, and what the future looks like in the same?
I think that what the future looks like is essentially the way that we are defining our people practices. So using HSBC as an example, we were not recruiting remotely. We were not recruiting in a virtual world. We were not engaging our people in a virtual world, nor were we having to build teams and that social cohesion that I was talking about. So it's about us, to your point, we've just experienced something that all of our teams experience on a daily basis. It's about us making sure that that's recognized within the way that we work and ensuring that's reflected to our teams through the management layers of our organizations. It's about becoming more resilient, more adaptable, and the agility that we need to be able to adapt and reflect, for example, the service interruption screen that you were just showing before you and your resplendent moustache disappeared.
Right. Thank you so much, Paul. That indeed covers up the question and the answer. And I wish you great luck in coming future. And of course, what you spoke right now, indeed, it gives volumes to people and draws a whole lot of perspective in terms of what to look forward for in coming future. Thank you for your time here. And I wish you great luck, a great day, and be safe wherever you are.
Thank you very much.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Paul Raddon, General Manager and Global Head of Operations, the HSBC Global Service Centers. Well, let's get ready for what's coming up next. And this one is going to be staying client-centric in a highly personalized industry. And we'll have two speakers who will join us to give in their thoughts and views more on this. Catch us on the other side. But meanwhile, remember the hashtag. And that is what you should be tagging to right now. See you on the other side.